In October 2006, a thunderous explosion startled the world from above North Korea as it boldly bypassed international deterrence and proceeded with its first nuclear test, despite the resistance from global communities. This act of defiance against the principles of a nuclear-free Korean peninsula not only provoked global outrage, but also marked a provocative stance that surprised many. This event was merely the beginning. Given North Korea's limited national power and its political struggles with poverty, it raises questions on how it managed to become the 9th country globally to possess nuclear weapons. 2003 was a year to remember. At the start of the year, North Korea, a small country located in the northeastern part of Asia, shocked the world by announcing its withdrawal from the Non-Proliferation Treaty, NPT, halting the denuclearization process on the peninsula. It's well acknowledged that the United States, emerging as the sole superpower after the Soviet Union's dissolution, had been somewhat neglectful of nuclear issues. North Korea, with its close ties to the Soviet Union, quickly became a significant concern for the U.S. Even after the Cold War ended, the standoff within the Korean peninsula persisted. The U.S. was acutely aware that pushing for denuclearization was a priority. Consequently, between 1992 and 1993, the U.S. engaged North Korea in multiple talks, leading to both parties signing a denuclearization declaration. North Korea promised not to proliferate nuclear weapons, and in exchange, the U.S. offered economic aid during 2 conferences held in the U.S. in 1993. Things were moving smoothly until 2002, when a meeting in Pyongyang broke the calm. The initiation of the new U.S. President Bush, who announced the reversal of all Clinton's North Korea policies, led to a deadlock in U.S.-North Korea relations. During the meeting in Pyongyang, contradictions between the 2 countries further escalated. In 2006, amidst another set of talks in the U.S., China stepped in and initiated 6-party talks with North Korea and other nations to mediate the situation. However, North Korea ultimately decided to go its own way. Following its first nuclear test in 2006, instead of being deterred by international criticism, North Korea rapidly accelerated and increased investment in nuclear weapon research. In 2009, it conducted its second nuclear test, shocking the world again. Remarkably, in 2011, North Korea even invited American experts to visit its facilities. At a conference in 2013, North Korea presented a development strategy of pursuing economic development and nuclear armament side by side, Byungjin Line, elevating its nuclear weapons development to a new strategic level. Between 2013 and 2017, North Korea carried out 4 nuclear tests and numerous ballistic missile tests, initially establishing a nuclear arsenal that includes atomic bombs, hydrogen bombs, and various missiles. In recent years, the focus on developing miniature nuclear weapons shows that over the years, North Korea has not only developed nuclear weapons, but also achieved a unique nuclear force advantage, undeniably becoming a genuine nuclear power. What's peculiar is that after World War II, North Korea was a weak country struggling even for food, let alone developing sophisticated nuclear weapons or basic self-defense capabilities. So how did North Korea embark on the path of nuclear weapon development and achieve success? The key to North Korea's emergence as a nuclear power was initial support from a significant ally, the Soviet Union. Without the Soviet Union's support, North Korea's nuclear industry could not have started. In the 1950s, North Korea's supreme leader, Kim Il-sung, explicitly stated the need to develop nuclear weapons to ensure national security. He believed that North Korea, despite being a small country, must possess critical weapons of mass destruction similar to other nations, especially nuclear weapons. Despite having ambitious goals, the reality was that North Korea was struggling to recover from war, with its domestic industries in severe decline, rendering the ambition to develop nuclear weapons almost impossible. However, Kim Il-sung was reluctant to give up. He soon sought assistance from the Soviet Union, North Korea's ally within the socialist camp and its most significant post-war reconstruction aid provider. When North Korea expressed its desire to develop nuclear weapons, the Soviet Union agreed to assist, primarily because North Korea was considered an important ally. However, from 1950 to 1980, nearly 3 decades, North Korea's nuclear development was primarily concentrated in the civilian sector. Indeed, North Korea always had an eager aspiration to possess nuclear weapons, but it was strictly restrained by the Soviet Union. As international situations continually shifted and the increasingly vulnerable Soviet Union altered its stance, it not only stringently limited material support to North Korea, but also prevented them from stepping into the military domain in their nuclear development. Consequently, it wasn't until the mid-1980s that North Korea managed to build its first heavy water reactor, marking a slow progression in development. During this period, the Soviet Union brought the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty to the table, aiming to further restrict North Korea's military nuclear weapons research. The Soviet Union even declared that without signing the treaty, they would not assist in the subsequent development. Gradually, subtle disagreements emerged between the two countries, eventually erupting when the Soviet Union established diplomatic relations with South Korea. North Korea viewed the Soviet Union's action to establish relations with South Korea as a stark betrayal. The Soviet Union was straightforward in its reduced support for North Korea's nuclear development. Under heavy pressure from the Soviet Union, North Korea had no choice but to sign the treaty. Yet, on the day of signing, North Korean official media remained collectively silent, not broadcasting any reports, as if to protest in silence. The change in the Soviet Union's attitude took North Korea by surprise and dealt a devastating blow to the budding nuclear development sector. Little did North Korea know, the nightmare was far from over. It had presumed that misunderstandings with the Soviet Union were the greatest obstacle on the path to nuclear weapons development. However, a greater shock ensued: the dissolution of the Soviet Union itself. North Korea attempted to move closer to the United States, but ultimately, those efforts ended in failure. Possessing its own nuclear weapons was an unshakable determination deep within North Korea's heart, stemming from a profound sense of insecurity. During the Cold War, North Korea was a small country caught between two superpowers, powerless to defend itself. After the Cold War ended, conflicts between North Korea and South Korea became increasingly prominent. In the past, North Korea had the Soviet Union's support, but now that support was gone, while the United States still bolstered South Korea, closely watching over the entire Korean peninsula. Due to complex historical reasons, North Korea couldn't fully trust the United States and couldn't possibly relinquish its influence over the peninsula to South Korea. For North Korea, self-strengthening was the only path to self-preservation, and possessing nuclear weapons was undoubtedly the most effective deterrent against the U.S. and South Korea. Despite enduring the hardships of extreme poverty and facing stringent United Nations sanctions, even at the risk of becoming an isolated diplomatic entity, North Korea persisted in developing nuclear weapons. During this period, nuclear specialists who returned from the Soviet Union played a decisive role. These experts were not only highly skilled, but over the past few decades, they also trained a new generation of young researchers for North Korea, securing a precious opportunity to breathe new life into its nuclear weapons development. In 2009, rough estimates indicated that there were at least 5,000 individuals in North Korea working on nuclear weapons development, including 200 elite personnel capable of directly participating in core weapons research. Institutions of higher learning and research, such as Kim Il-sung University, Pyongyang University of Science and Technology, and the Atomic Energy Research Institute, were pushing the development of nuclear weapons. Besides the development team, North Korea's natural resources also contributed significantly. The country had an abundance of natural uranium mines, which could be directly used for nuclear weapons research. During the collaboration with the Soviet Union, North Korea had also accrued some heavy industry capabilities, such as the graphite-moderated reactors and nuclear fuel processing plants located in the Yongbyon area. These facilities laid the groundwork for North Korea to become an independent nuclear power. It is evident that North Korea's breakthrough in its nuclear endeavors could not have happened without the help of the Soviet Union and was closely tied to talent cultivation, facility construction, and revitalization policies. The development of North Korea's nuclear weapons is underpinned by the power of the entire nation. Although the motives behind North Korea's nuclear weapons development are understandable, the issue of North Korea's nuclear weapons remains controversial today. Nonetheless, The overarching direction towards denuclearization of the peninsula and the safety of the global community as a common destiny are undeniable. Against this backdrop, the future of North Korea's nuclear weapons situation still awaits further observation. Thanks. Please don't hesitate to like, subscribe, share, and support the Knowledge Nook.